Hello students, a very good morning to all of you, and I hope you all are in good health and taking great care of yourself. So students, as you know that we are done with our section 1 from unit 6, the unknown, right? That is what Lucy found there. So today we would be doing the grammar portion of worksheet 6, that is on page number 65. We have already studied about present perfect continuous and past perfect continuous while we were doing coursework. So I hope that you remember that. We would once again revise that topic before moving ahead with the exercises related to the grammar. So let's see over here. What is present perfect continuous tense? The present perfect continuous tense is used to show an action that has begun at some time in the past and is still going on at the moment of speaking. So when do we use this tense? When we want to show an action that has begun sometime in past, मतलब past में start हुई है and it is still continuing. That means it is going on when we are speaking about that action. Okay, so the action is present because it is taking place at the moment of speaking, right? Then it is perfect because it has started in past and some of it is already over. And it is continuous because it is ongoing at the moment of speaking. That means, why do we call an action as present perfect continuous tense? Because first thing, that action is going on, right, when we are speaking. That's why we say प्रेजेंट टेंस. वो एक्शन अभी हो रही है. परफेक्ट क्यों कहेंगे? बिकॉज इट स्टार्टेड इन पास्ट एंड सम ऑफ इट इज़ ऑलरेडी ओवर, मतलब थोड़ी बहुत ख़त्म हो गई है पास्ट में, बट इट इज स्टिल गोइंग ऑन. और कंटिन्यूअस टेंस हम कब यूज़ करते हैं? व्हेन द एक्शन इज ऑन गोइंग एट द मोमेंट ऑफ स्पीकिंग. दैट्स वाई इट इज कॉल्ड कंटिन्यूअस tense. Okay, so here you might have understood what is present perfect continuous tense, and the formation also we have already studied. We use has or have plus been plus verb का present participle. Now here VPP का मतलब verb present participle है, past participle नहीं है. और verb का present participle क्या होता है? verb plus ing. Okay, so that is your present participle. Okay, so that is the formation of present perfect continuous tense. Has or have plus been plus present participle. For example, John has been learning Spanish for 2 years now. That means जेसन ने स्पेनिश कब से स्टार्ट किया है लर्न करना? 2 years back, and he is still learning, right? So that action of learning is still going on, but it started in past and he has learned somewhat Spanish, लेकिन अभी भी उसका सीखना कंटिन्यू हो रहा है, राइट? इसीलिए ये सेंटेंस प्रेजेंट परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस टेंस में है. नाउ लेट्स सी व्हाट इज पास्ट परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस टेंस. The past perfect continuous tense is used to show an action in the past. Okay, this action went on for some time from one moment in the past to another moment also in the past. So, when do we use past perfect continuous tense? To show some action which happened in past. Okay, वो action दिखाने के लिए हम use करते हैं past perfect continuous tense. और ये एक्शन कब स्टार्ट हुई थी? इट वेंट ऑन सम टाइम फ्रॉम सम मोमेंट, फ्रॉम वन मोमेंट इन पास्ट टू अनदर मोमेंट. मतलब पास्ट में एक एक्शन हुई है जो एक मोमेंट पर स्टार्ट हुई और दूसरे मोमेंट पर ख़त्म हो गई. ठीक है, मतलब स्टार्ट होना और ख़त्म होना पास्ट में ही हो चुका है. ठीक है, सो वी यूज़ पास्ट परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस टेंस. उसमें हम पास्ट टेंस सबसे पहले बिकॉज इट टुक प्लेस इन द टाइम गॉन बाय, दैट मीन्स द टाइम विच इज ओवर. ओके, We are talking about the action which happened in past, and it is taking place in the past. Perfect because the action has been completed before the moment of speaking. We call it perfect because that action just completed before the moment of speaking. मतलब जब हम बात कर रहे हैं उसके थोड़े ही टाइम पहले वो एक्शन ख़त्म हो चुकी है. Okay, that's why we call it perfect tense. And the third one is continuous because the action continued for a period of time in the past. मतलब वो एक्शन भले ही एक मोमेंट के बाद दूसरे मोमेंट में ख़त्म हुई लेकिन वो पास्ट में ही हुई थी, राइट. और वो पास्ट में क्या हुई थी? कंटिन्यू हुई थी. एक मोमेंट से लेके एक दूसरे मोमेंट तक. वो दोनों ही मोमेंट कब हुए थे? पास्ट में ही हुए थे, लेकिन एक मोमेंट से दूसरे मोमेंट तक वो एक्शन कंटिन्यू हुई. दैट्स वाई वी कैन कॉल इट दैट इट हैज़ टू बी रिटर्न इन कंटिन्यूअस टेंस. ओके, सो पास्ट परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस टेंस इज बिल्ट विथ हैड बीन प्लस प्रेजेंट पार्टिसिपल. सो हम जब प्रेजेंट परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस यूज़ करते हैं तो हम हैज़ हैव यूज़ करते हैं, और अगर हम पास्ट परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस यूज़ करते हैं तो हैड यूज़ करेंगे. उसके साथ आएगा बीन, एंड देन वी वुड बी राइटिंग प्रेजेंट पार्टिसिपल. दैट मीन्स वर्ब ing. ओके, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, जेसन हैड बीन लर्निंग स्पेनिश फॉर 2 years बट ही हैज़ स्टॉप्ड. दैट मीन्स उसने, जब हम बात कर रहे हैं उस वक्त उसने छोड़ दिया था, लेकिन 2 साल से वो क्या कर रहा था? स्पेनिश सीख रहा था, राइट. सो एक स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट था जब उसने स्टार्ट किया लर्न करना, और दूसरा मोमेंट क्या था? जब उसने रोक दिया. उसके बीच में ये जो लर्निंग का प्रोसेस था दैट हैड बीन गोइंग ऑन. सो जेसन हैड बीन लर्निंग स्पेनिश फॉर 2 years बट ही हैज़ स्टॉप्ड. ओके, सो यू नीड टू रिमेंबर कि जब हम प्रेजेंट परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस टेंस कब यूज़ करेंगे? व्हेन द एक्शन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इट स्टार्टेड इन पास्ट बट इट इज स्टिल गोइंग ऑन इन द प्रेजेंट. ओके, कंटिन्यू हो रही है एट द टाइम ऑफ स्पीकिंग. Okay, then we are going to use present perfect continuous. But when an action started in past, it continued for some time in past, and then it stopped when we are speaking about it. Then we are going to use past perfect continuous tense. Okay. For example, let's see the exercise over here. Choose the correct option to complete each of the following sentences. The first one over here is, we know the locality well because we dash here for nearly 8 years. We know the locality well. हमको ये locality बहुत अच्छे से मालूम है. Why? Because यहाँ पे हम कितने साल से रह रहे हैं? 8 years से. And we are still living over there. Right? हम अभी भी रह ही रहे हैं. So आंसर क्या होगा? Present perfect continuous tense में. That means our answer would be have been living. Okay, this would be your answer. Now let's see the second one. He dashed the house for an hour when she returned home from work. So here, this sentence is in past continuous. She cleaned the house, right? When she returned home from the work. मतलब जब वो घर रिटर्न हुई उसके बाद उसने 1 घंटे तक सफाई की. That means that action takes place in past perfect continuous tense. So we would be writing, he had been cleaning the house for an hour when she returned home from work. Now let's see the third one. I dash about starting a new business with my father-in-law. So this is something which is an ongoing action, thinking, right? अभी भी मैं सोच रही हूँ. So this is a present perfect continuous tense. I have been thinking about starting a new business with my father-in-law. Next one. She dash in this school for nearly a decade now. For that, we are again going to use प्रेजेंट परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस टेंस बिकॉज वो अभी भी स्कूल में ही है. ठीक है, शी डिडंट लीव द स्कूल. शी हैज़ बीन इन द स्कूल फॉर नियरली अ decade, means 10 years now. So the answer would be has been teaching. And as I told you in the previous class that we use has along with third person singular, और बाकी सबके साथ हम क्या यूज़ करते हैं, have यूज़ करते हैं. So don't forget that. Let's see the next one. They dash to renovate the cafe, but they have dropped the idea now. So something was going on in the past and it also stopped now. So that means that is an past perfect, that is a past perfect continuous tense. So here our answer would be they had been planning to renovate the cafe, but they have dropped the idea now. Let's see the next one. She dashed for a week and now simply wants to sleep for a few days. So here, what she has been doing? She has been traveling and that's why she wants to sleep for few days. मतलब अभी traveling की जो action है that is still going on. That's why we are going to write she has been traveling. And the last one, we dash in the fair every year for the last 15 years. That means the action which is going on since last 15 years. That means present perfect continuous tense. We have been participating in the fair every year for last 15 years. Now let's see second exercise where you have to fill in the blanks with the correct tense of verb. For a long time now, I have been watching this strange looking man near our house every evening. So here we are going to use present perfect continuous tense, right? Because watching कब से चल रही है, काफ़ी टाइम से, right? In past, and he is still doing that action. Okay, that's why. The first time I saw him from my window, he was standing at the tall gates of the house opposite ours. Now this action just happened in past. Okay, when first time I saw it from my window, he was standing. So that is an action which happened at that time, right? So this is only past continuous tense. I even felt he dashed to get inside. और उस टाइम उसको क्या फीलिंग आई कि वो अंदर घुसने की ट्राई कर रहा है. दैट मीन्स दैट एक्शन वॉज कंटिन्यूइंग और उसी वक्त ख़त्म भी हो गई थी. इसीलिए हमने यूज़ किया है पास्ट परफेक्ट कंटिन्यूअस टेंस. अभी नहीं फील हो रहा है, राइट? उस वक्त फील हो रहा था उसको. सो ही हैड बीन ट्राइंग टू गेट इनसाइड. I don't think he saw me. He dashed there every night at around 12 and I am not sure what he wants. That means this action happens every night, right? And when he is seeing at that moment also, he can make it sure कि वो आदमी उस वक्त आ रहा है. So this is again present perfect continuous tense. He has been coming there every night at around 12 and I am not sure what he wants. A family dash live in that house briefly, but it has been vacant for nearly 4 months. The owners having moved to another city. So one action happened, that is a family lived over there, right? लेकिन अभी वो जगह खाली है. तो एक फैमिली वहाँ पे रहती थी पहले. And that's why we have used over here past perfect continuous tense. A family had been living in that house briefly, but has been vacant for nearly 4 hours. I am not sure what this man wants, but his eerie presence dashed me for some time now. That means uska jo presence hai, that is troubling him, and it is being doing since few days. जब से उसने देखा है तब से उसको troubling feel हो रही है. So we are going to use over here has been troubling. That is present perfect continuous tense. I dash whether to discuss this with someone. So I decided to tell my father. So I have been wondering whether to discuss this with someone. That means he was thinking about that uh, from the time he might have seen him for the first time. Okay, लेकिन अभी तक उसने बताया नहीं था, लेकिन अभी उसने डिसाइड किया कि अभी मुझे बता देना चाहिए. 3 nights ago he and I was waiting for him at the window. That means उसके फादर और वो दोनों वेट कर रहे थे at that time. So that's why we are just going to use past continuous. Hidden behind the curtain when he arrived in his usual way. And there, at that moment he arrived over there. So we decided to go out without being noticed and take him by surprise. When we reached near him and my father suddenly cleared his throat loudly, the man jumped in fright. We noticed that he was trying to meddle with the lock that hung on the high gates. So when they reached over there, what did they saw? What did they see? They saw that he was trying to meddle with the lock. That means he was trying to open the lock, right? He was fidgeting with that lock. He was taken by such surprise that he ran as if he had seen a ghost. I dash at my window for last 3 nights. And what I have been doing? I have been waiting for him for last 3 nights. So again here we have used present continuous tense. But I haven't seen that man again. Hopefully he is gone forever. So students, I hope that you are clear with present perfect continuous and past perfect continuous tense. So now let's see active and passive. Active and passive also we have done in the course book, but we'll just refer to it once again. The active voice calls the attention to the performer of the action. Right? Normally the voice, how do you come to know which voice it is? From the verb. Okay? From the verb you come to know, and the position of the subject you come to know कि whether that voice is active or passive. और एक्टिव वॉइस किसके ऊपर अटेंशन डालता है? परफॉर्मर ऑफ द एक्शन के ऊपर. And sentences in active voice are generally clearer and more direct than those in passive voice. And whenever we talk, whenever we speak, right, whenever we conversate, at that time we prefer to talk in active voice. हम पैसिव वॉइस में बहुत कम बात करते हैं, हम लोग ज़्यादातर एक्टिव वॉइस में ही बात करते हैं, जिसके अंदर एक्शन का जो परफॉर्मर है, जो नॉर्मली सब्जेक्ट कहलाता है, राइट, इट इज़ ऑलवेज इन द बिगिनिंग. ओके, सो सब्जेक्ट की पोजीशन पर कौन आएगा? द डूअर ऑफ द एक्शन. मान लो अगर वहाँ पे डूअर ऑफ द एक्शन की जगह पर रिसीवर ऑफ द एक्शन है, राइट, इन द प्लेस ऑफ सब्जेक्ट. सब्जेक्ट की जो पोजीशन होती है सेंटेंस में, उस जगह पे अगर रिसीवर ऑफ द एक्शन है, दैट मीन्स दैट इज योर पैसिव वॉइस. नाउ लेट्स सी द एग्जाम्पल ओवर हियर. They shattered the window panes, destroyed the furniture, tore up the files and papers and threw them all over the floor. Now in this sentence, if you see the verbs shattered the window panes, destroyed the furniture, tore up the file and paper and threw them all over the floor. Now all these actions have been carried on by they, right, who are the performer of the action. ठीक है? Or you can say that it is the subject. It's in the place of subject. So this is your active voice. Now when we are talking about passive voice, it calls attention to the action itself rather than its performer or receiver. Now see, most of the time it's not necessary कि हर सेंटेंस में ऑब्जेक्ट होगा. ठीक है, कुछ सेंटेंस ऐसे भी होते हैं जिसमें ऑब्जेक्ट नहीं होता है, तो हम आगे क्या रखेंगे अगर रिसीवर ही नहीं है तो सेंटेंस का. लेकिन जब रिसीवर होता है तो हम सेंटेंस में जो रिसीवर होता है एक्शन का, राइट, वो हम सब्जेक्ट की पोजीशन पर रखते हैं, और जो डूअर होता है एक्शन का वो हम ऑब्जेक्ट की जगह पर रखते हैं, मतलब ऑब्जेक्ट की पोजीशन पर रखते हैं. और जब हम ऐसे लिखते हैं तो हमारा सेंटेंस पैसिव वॉइस में होता है, एंड इन दैट वी कॉल द अटेंशन टुवर्ड्स द receiver or the verb itself. Right? Sentences in the passive voice sound more formal and unemotional because the focus is on what is being done or what happens, not on who is doing the action or who the recipient of the action is. Okay? So when we are talking in passive voice, हमारा सबसे ज़्यादा attention किसकी तरफ होगा? About ये action क्या हो रही है, what kind of action is going on, what is happening, instead of who is doing it or who is receiving it. Okay? इसके ऊपर ध्यान नहीं दिया जाता है. अभी मान लो जो पहली एक्शन है, राइट, उसमें ही अगर आप देखोगे, द विंडो पेन्स वर शैटर्ड, द फर्नीचर वॉज डिस्ट्रॉयड, द फाइल्स एंड पेपर्स वर टोर्न अप एंड थ्रोन ऑल ओवर द फ्लोर. सो हियर what was shattered, what was destroyed, what were torn up and thrown. So the window panes जो receiver है, फिर यहाँ पे furniture, that is also the receiver, the files and the papers, that is also the receiver of the action. right? और इसके अंदर अगर आप नोट डाउन करोगे तो ये सेंटेंस के अंदर परफॉर्मर ऑफ द एक्शन नहीं है, राइट? there is no performer of the action. That means there is no subject written over here. They have only given more attention to the verbs जैसे कि shattered, destroyed, torn up and thrown, and they have also brought the receiver of the action in the beginning. Okay, so this is the example of passive voice. Normally, skills and talented writers generally avoid using passive voice too much, except in special case where its use becomes important, because it often lacks clarity and precision of thinking or information. For example, if you say African Americans have been treated very unfairly for years, you are suppressing a very important piece of information. Who has been treating them so unfairly? Skills और talented writers जो होते हैं, right, normally वो passive voice avoid करते हैं. They don't use too much of passive voice except in special cases where its use become important. That means जहाँ पर हमें जो एक्शन करने वाला है उसके ऊपर अटेंशन नहीं डालना है, ओके, उस जगह पर हम लोग पैसिव वॉइस यूज़ करते हैं. क्योंकि पैसिव वॉइस क्या होता है, इट डजेंट गिव अ क्लियर पिक्चर, ओके, और इट डजेंट गिव प्रॉपर इंफॉर्मेशन. फॉर एग्जाम्पल ये ले लो सेंटेंस, अफ्रीकन अमेरिकन्स हैव बीन ट्रीटेड वेरी अनफेयरली फॉर ईयर्स. तो ये जो लोग हैं उनको अनफेयरली ट्रीट किया हुआ है, लेकिन किसने किया है, वी डोंट नो अबाउट दैट. हु इज़ डूइंग दैट एक्शन, हु इज़ ट्रीटिंग देम अनफेयर, वी डोंट हैव एनी आइडिया अबाउट इट, right? That means that portion is hidden over here. So that's why you can say that passive voice doesn't provide all the information, and that's the reason that we generally don't use passive voice. We generally use active voice only. So students, I hope that you have understood active passive also. We would be doing this exercise in next class. If possible, you can carry out exercise 1, that is on page 68 in your textbook. We would be checking the answers in the live class.